And we are live. Hello, everyone. So we're trying an early morning slot, but wow, what a mission today has been. I've had internet problems, I've had screen problems, I've setup problems. Oh my goodness, I thought it might not work. So we'll see how it goes. If viewership is really low, I think we're probably going to set our time at that 3 p.m. UK time and just leave it at that. But I did want to try this early morning slot and see how it all panned out. So that's what we're going to be trying. So loads has happened again. I mean, Decred in crypto, it never stops. It's absolutely amazing. One thing, I've managed to verify my phone number now on Twitter. So hopefully this week, touch wood, um, we'll be getting premium. So we'll be streaming this show on Twitter as well, which would be absolutely amazing. Should get us more interaction and stuff like that. So that'll be good. Before we get much more into this, before we start looking at the unstoppable peer-to-peer privacy and showing you guys what it looks like in Bison Wallet, let's run the trailer.
People want to be free to transact and do business worldwide. And that is a force that I think is going to sweep the globe. We are now at the very beginning of that, and I honestly don't think there's a stopping it.
Everyone who goes to the major exchange platforms is still going to have to give up all kinds of personal information to these entities, which effectively means that exchanges are almost like the new banks.
The revolution will not be centralized.
Fantastic. So, as always, I like to start this show by basically saying, look, this is what Decred is. This is what it looks like, and giving some kind of elevation pitch or elevator pitch. So today I want to discuss Decred's stand on privacy. Now, in my opinion, this can be a very kind of convoluted conversation, and depending on who you're talking to, you can have some very strong feelings about this, and you can have some very strong feelings actually both ways. But with everything in crypto and with everything that's trying to be peer-to-peer, you will notice that there are massive trade-offs in both directions. So how I think about this is there are three ways in which you can do privacy. So the first is by default. So things like Monero do and Zcash, I believe, do this by default. So pretty much every transaction on their chain should be private unless you turn that feature off. And in many respects, some would say maybe that should go even further. This privacy by default should go even further and not have that mechanism for enabling it or disabling it. The next option, which is my preferred one, and this is the camp that I sit in, is this optional privacy. And there are lots and lots of benefits with optional privacy, which we'll try and discuss. And then finally, there's the option of no privacy. So, at the moment, Bitcoin kind of fits in this field where they don't really have privacy, and anything they try to hook onto it kind of either fails or gets rejected or whatever. So you have these three options. So the first option, privacy by default, this is really your Monero, your Zcash camp. Optional privacy, this is really your Decred philosophy, and the no privacy, this is currently where projects like Bitcoin are sat in. So the thing with some of the drawbacks, and like I say, that when you're thinking about this stuff, it's not as clean cut as some people might make it appear. So you do have to really make the decision on what you want to do. So in terms of privacy by default, one of the major benefits is obviously everything's private. You have this hyper privacy. You have these anonymity sets that are massive, and that is the absolute bonus of it. Now, one thing you'll rarely hear from the privacy advocates is the hardships of pruning and inflation attacks. So these are the two main drawbacks with these mechanisms that have default privacy. So pruning, what that is basically, as your chain gets bigger, as you become more popular, at some point you want to say to yourself, right, well, this needs to still be a peer-to-peer network. So pruning is an option to actually scale that right back. So to kind of prune the transactions, so you can kind of consolidate all the transactions and all the accounts. So it's a smaller database. rather than keeping all the UTXOs and keeping all of the transaction history. You kind of scale it back into this pruned form. So all the coins still exist, but only at this particular point in time. Now, with privacy by default, in terms of ring signatures and ZK Starks and things like that, it's incredibly difficult to do pruning privacy channels. And this is where the debate gets a bit funny, because if you talk to Monero, people say, yeah, we've got pruning, but then and I suppose in many respects they can prune transparent transactions. They can still do that, but to my knowledge, pruning privacy transactions is still something that is very, very difficult, if not impossible. So that's the first thing. And pruning as we go forward will be really, really important if you intend to keep that peer-to-peer nature of your network. And remember, the peer-to-peer nature, this decentralized nature, basically says that anyone should be able to run a full node and validate their own transactions. And that's also another factor with privacy. If you can't actually validate your own transactions by running a full node, you actually give up quite a bit of privacy in that respect as well. So that was the first one. And then in terms of inflation attacks, this is a bit more difficult, because really and truly anybody or any chain can potentially have an inflation attack where an attacker kind of generates coins out of thin air or whatever. The main difference here is that privacy by default makes this incredibly hard to discover, to the point where they could have inflated your chain by the millions before it's actually spotted. So that's the first thing. In terms of optional privacy, it's this idea that, actual fact, maybe there are things that don't need to be private. Maybe there are things actually that probably shouldn't be private, like, for instance, Decrediton treasury. We want to know that that account has that amount of money, and if things are being spent, we want to know. We want to be able to see that on chain, and that's really one area where having privacy by default might not be great. Another area is for charity donations, and obviously verifiability or verifying transactions. So these are kind of the area why I particularly think that it should be optional. So you can have accounts that are private, and you can have accounts that are not private. And then obviously no privacy is the camp that I least agree with. So the idea that you shouldn't have any privacy is absolutely crazy. And at this particular point, it's not great. That being said, it's everyone's decision for this stuff, and you should have the power to have privacy in your money or your transactions. Another way in which you can be private, of course, which Decred does extremely well, is every time you spend money or you receive money, you actually generate a new address, which makes it really, really, which increases the privacy hugely, actually. So in terms of privacy, Decred believes that privacy should be optional. Or certainly I believe that that privacy should be optional. You should have these really big anonymity sets, and it should be unstoppable. So whether you're optional or whether you're by default, privacy should be unstoppable. And that's what Decred really believes. And with Decred 2, we now have peer-to-peer mixing, where the actual full nodes can mix their own transactions with each other, rather than having to rely on a centralized server or service, which is absolutely amazing. If you want to look more into this stuff, I'll put some videos up in just a second so you can see that. But that's my Decred pitch for today: our optional privacy and unstoppable privacy, and making sure that you kind of have the best of all worlds, and making sure that you understand what the trade-offs are. So let's bring up some stuff. So there's not much happening today in terms of, or not much has changed in terms of what's happening on chain in terms of price, in terms of ticket prices. As you can see, everything's running pretty much as should. Let's just refresh this so we've got it working. I don't believe there's any treasury transactions, so that's all gone through. That was successful. Current price of a ticket is still around that $3,000 mark. The exchange rate is slightly low, but one thing that's quite interesting this week is look at the blue lines for the DCR BTC pair, and look at how much. So all this blue, that is Bison Wallet. okay, or DCRDEX, and all of this in yellow is the Binance. So look how much volume we've got around that spread now, which is absolutely incredible. And as we push that in, you can see there's a really good amount of spread, really good amount of coins coming through. We can also turn stacking off, so we can actually see that, which, you know, as you can agree, I mean, that's really great. And then volume is what, about a third of what it is on Binance at the minute. So we still got a lot of volume to make up. But remember, this is all real volume. This is on-chain transactions that can be verified, which is absolutely amazing. So in terms of that, I don't think there's much else. You know, almost 890 in the treasury, which is great, 10 million. Before I move on to proposals, let me just head on over. And if we go into the Decred YouTube channel, I just want to show you guys that there are, if you want to find out more about Decred, if you head on over to the Decred TV channel, for the past 2 or 3 years, I've been creating absolutely loads and loads of videos for how this stuff works. So if you can go to the playlist, or you can go to the video slot, but you can actually see I've made some videos on the recent updates for Decred 2 and how the mixing works. As you go through, I've also talked about things like SPV Wallet and how that works. And I'll get onto that in just a moment. But there were some discussions this week in the DigiByte channels about SPV and Electrum and what the differences are. And there was one guy just kind of not really understanding how much this stuff has improved. But yeah, there's absolutely loads of stuff. If you want to learn more about Decred, and all the things that you can do, and trust me, don't trust me, look, there's absolutely loads of this stuff. What Decred does is absolutely incredible, and there's so much there to learn and to delve into. In terms of proposals, so unfortunately, the Keystone hardware wallet support got rejected. So actually had quite a good turnout in the end. So if you look at this turnout, we had 24,000 votes compared to the rejected Cypherpunk Times proposal. You know, that we got less than 10,000 votes here. So it was quite a nice turnout. Happy to see that well over half of all votes actually turn out. And then, as you can see, at the moment, it's very low. I believe they are going to try this again. They're going to try it once Cake Wallet has implemented this Keystone hardware, and hopefully at that time the price of Decred would have picked up, which will obviously give it probably a bit more momentum. I think most were in agreement that 90 grand at this particular moment was probably a little too much. But that being said, one of the other things that I was kind of fighting against in my own head is I'd never heard of Keystone. I'd like to see, I'd like to hear about what that's about. Maybe get Joe or one of the Keystone guys onto Decred today, or State of the Market, and actually talk that through and find out what the difference is, because we've obviously got Ledger and we've obviously got Trezor, and I've never really been a huge fan of either of those, to be fair. I mean, it's the best of a bad situation. So it would be nice to see if Keystone actually offers anything better. See if their integrations are better. One thing I don't think I've ever shown you guys is actually how to look at the votes as they come through. So if we look at this chart here, and it takes us back to DCR data, you can actually see how people were voting, which is really, really interesting. And you can see the spread. It always starts off this way. The spread always starts off very low, and then about midway through the voting process, we get these really, really big spikes of inbound voters, which it's really interesting to watch when you kind of when your proposal is going through and all the excitement and kind of anticipation is going through. It's quite interesting to watch this, to see which way people are voting. So yeah, I mean, it's interesting. Right, let's close that one. So there is another proposal, and the proposal this week is DCRDEX development phase 5.5. So this was put up by Buck, and this is kind of an interim proposal, which will see compensation had for the kind of tail end of the last proposal, and then going on into doing some more interesting stuff and developments for Bison Wallet. Now, a couple of things that were quite interesting here. Obviously, we're looking at adding more pairs. Let me see if I can find it. It's here somewhere. But there's also a proposal to add money for marketing. Presumably, that's for market making and things like that as well, which I thought was really interesting. It would be lovely just if we could use that 80 grand there just for market making on its own would be absolutely amazing. Obviously, that will go towards promoting and onboarding people and things like that. And there's also some allocation here for technical support, which could be really useful for other projects as well. Supporting these external wallets is going to be one of our biggest biggest roadblocks. I think the more wallets that could be one-click install, the better. But certainly we can't be using development time to support people. We need to kind of make sure that our developers are building and improving Bison Wallet and DCRDEX. There's also some money here to go into some further research. So the thing that I'm probably most excited about is this Tatanka mesh, which will basically make the server a mesh network. So rather than relying on a single server or several single servers, they'll all be interconnected. So you can have all of your pairs, but they're relayed over multiple servers. And if you remember, what the DCRDEX server does is it just communicates. It communicates from what's on the order book and what is and what's being settled. So it does all of those communications. So I mean, decentralizing that and making that into a mesh network is something that will obviously harden the platform even further. So yeah, loads to look forward to there. Personally, I think this one should definitely go ahead. I mean, it's quite a steep budget, but that is for a year's worth of work, and based on what they've already delivered with Bison Wallet, I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer. And most of the people that are commenting at the moment are pretty much saying the same thing. If you have any questions for Buck and the team, obviously post them here. But at the moment, yeah, it's something that must go forward. It must kind of keep developing until we're at a stage where onboarding new projects and onboarding new servers and having that mesh network is fully kind of part of the process. Really make a lot easier to do. That one done. I've just put this one up here. So this is the dex.decred.org. This is currently where you're going to be getting Bison Wallet from. So if you are wondering how to download Bison Wallet, here it is. So you can just scroll down. This will be improved. I believe that the new address will be something different. It will be bisonwallet.org, I believe, but I'll give you more on that in the future. But for now, this is where you come to dex.decred.org. And it's a fairly easy process. You just hit the installer for the operating system and you are good to go. Fantastic. Now, we have had loads and loads of things happen on chain this week, in social medias this week. Hold on. Oh, apologies. We've had loads happen. Like I said, we are, as of tomorrow evening, Bison Wallet the release date would have been 2 weeks. So we're just over 2 weeks into this, and there's so much happening. And as we scroll through my bookmarks, we'll see what's happening. But let's see what's most of this is Decred stuff this week. It's absolutely incredible. So most people don't realize how great Decred's peer-to-peer privacy is. We are post-quantum secure mixing as well, which is absolutely incredible. And so much has happened under the hood for this stuff. What was that for? I think that was for one of my posts. Oh, that was to advertise for today, basically saying peer-to-peer privacy, the unstoppable fundamental, which I absolutely love. What else we got? So Jason from the Digibyte community has built or created a post on Cypherpunk Times for how to install a Digibyte full node wallet. He did say in some of the chats we've had this week that it does take between 4 days and a week to actually fully sync, which is quite interesting. We was having this conversation about syncing all kinds of full node wallets this week, and as you may have heard me say in the past, I mean, Decred the last time I did it, which was well over a year ago now, it took me about 3 hours to fully sync my full node wallet. Um, According to the improvements of Decred 2, that time is now halved. So it should take 1.5 hours, if not less, to do a full node wallet. And obviously, Decred's SPV wallet syncs in about 5 minutes. So incredible stuff. And I really hope that Digibyte and others get these SPV wallets up and running, or even the Electrum wallets, if that's the way they prefer to go. But yeah, if you are interested in installing the Digibyte core desktop wallet, here is the user guide for how to do that for Bison Wallet. Another thing from the Digibyte community was the Digibyte and Friends this week, and this was a bit of a funny one. Normally this show is really good, but they had someone that kind of just derailed it. Some Toshi, I think his name was, and some of the information wasn't particularly great. He was talking about Digibyte going full proof of stake, and obviously this is possible, and currently part of the debate there is because they've got these 15-second blocks, and they've obviously one of the fastest on-chain transactions you can have with Digibyte, but it's also quite cumbersome, obviously, as we've just seen with the hardware wallet to actually install this stuff. So this guy came on to talk about maybe forking Digibyte to make it a proof of stake coin, much in the same way that Ethereum has done it. And I mean, this would be an incredible amount of work. And I don't necessarily feel that it would yield the best results either. I mean, you've only got to look at the issues that Zcash are going through with theirs. And about a year ago, they said, yeah, we're going full proof of stake. And in order to do that, what they were basically saying is we're going to mint all of the coins, 21 million coins, and then kind of find a way of kind of distributing them to the proof of stakers, which just looked like an absolute nonsense to me. It looked like hard work. And then this year, about a month ago, they've just said that they're proposing to go hybrid proof of stake, proof of work. And even that, to get that implemented, to get that work, is going to be an incredible amount of work. And I would imagine an incredible amount of issues, actually. Now, Decred, as you know, it was a hybrid from day one. And I believe that's probably the reason our chain was so successful at being hybrid and being able to kind of change the consensus and reduce the mining rewards and things like that. The reason we were so successful at being able to do that was because that was how we were built. We were built with that in mind. Another thing this guy was saying was about their wallets, and he was basically saying that SPV is old tech. Now, one thing that's important to note there is the bloom filters that I presume he was on about. Yes, that is very old tech, and there were, if you use the bloom filter SPV wallets, what you're basically doing is you're relying on single servers to actually deliver the filters that you need for your SPV wallet, which would encroach on your privacy. Now, when Neutrino came out, the new method for that basically allowed any node to serve up these filters, basically reducing the need for risking your privacy. Now, Decred takes that one step further by building these filters into the blockchain headers, which is absolutely incredible, and also means we have 100% support for SPVs. An SPV basically means you can validate your own transactions. Now, my understanding with the Electrum Lite clients, as they're called, is that you are relying on a centralized server to actually transact those or transmit those transactions, which obviously isn't great if you're going for a single server to kind of make your transactions work. I could be wrong about that, but that's my understanding, is there is a server base and you might be able to run that server, or you might have to rely on others to run it for you. With the SPV, there is none of that. It literally hooks into the network. So every node on the Decred, every full node on the Decred network will basically be able to serve you the filters that you need to be able to verify and validate all of your own transactions. So just a couple of things there. generally, I really like this, and the reason I brought this up today is because there was a couple of people, Jose and Exus, were both on the show pitching Bison Wallet, and I kind of felt that it kind of got derailed a little bit, and I don't like to see too much in-house fighting over things that kind of were resolved years ago. The decision was made to have 15-second blocks. Now you have to kind of work with it, I guess. But it'll be interesting to see if a vote goes to go full proof of stake and see what happens there. But I think it'll be probably too much work for them, really. The next thing, then, the free market exists. So this week, some really interesting stuff happened. Now, this was Friday, I think. So on Friday, the BTC DCR pair had roughly $4,000 of transaction. It's great to see all of these order books filling up. And when we go over to Bison Wallet in just a moment, I'll show you that. But the interesting free market was this one here, the Decrediton pair, which had over 4,000 volume in the 24-hour period. And it was absolutely crazy. And when I took this screenshot, unfortunately, the order books look a little bit lower than they had been, but it's purely because the amount of volume that's actually going into it. And what they've managed to do this week is fill up all of the order books. It's been absolutely incredible to watch, and I will show you that in a minute. But most orders now, either side, have got like 100 Decred either side, or whatever the trade is, which is absolutely phenomenal. And I love the way that this is progressing. We're only 2 weeks into this, and we're starting to see market makers come online. We're starting to see people building those markets. One thing that has been said this week, though, for those that are interested in getting markets or more markets, you do have to show that you're using this stuff and prepared to use this stuff. So Zcash, I think, might be getting enabled within the next 2 weeks. So we should see a Zcash USDT pair, and based on whether that gets used or not will base whether it stays around or whether it gets removed. The whole mission at this particular moment is to see no empty pairs. Bison Wallet does not want to see any empty pairs. It doesn't look great on the platform, and we're kind of we're saying that to the community now. If you want this permissionless peer-to-peer product and you want the pairs, you have to commit some liquidity to it. You have to make sure that your pairs are not empty, and you also have to be supporting your community to onboard to it. So if you are a Litecoin user, a Digibyte user, a Dash user, you're going to have to teach your community how to install the external wallets, or you're going to have to chuck over some support, some devs to actually build out the one-click installation wallets, which is what ultimately will work best. That's what's going to build the markets the quickest. So one community obviously putting their money where their mouth is the Digibyte community. Jason has been fundamental in this, as has Jose, in actually putting together some guides for how to install the Digibyte wallet and actually demonstrating, hey, look, I've got it installed. And actual fact, it looks great, doesn't it? You've got these little cards, send and receive. You've got all the kind of fee amounts. And as we move forward, as I've said to many people, it'll be great to see more people get involved. More of their tech enter into this wallet. But that's obviously only going to happen if they can get these initiatives set up. Here's one about liquidity providers and unrigging the game. And this is quite interesting because, to my knowledge, Bison Wallet is the first decentralized exchange that lets anybody be a market maker. So when you talk about Thorchain and all of these Ethereum dexes, the way that most of them make their money is being a liquidity provider or an automatic market maker, an AMM. But most of these people have huge amounts of liquidity, absolutely huge amounts. Now with Decred, you just need, or with Bison Wallet, you just need, a few dollars. There was one guy basically saying, I've got like $100 and I've just made £7 in a day, which I was like, wow, that's absolutely amazing. So market makers on Bison Wallet is happening, and anybody can participate. One of the big things there, though, is you do need to make sure that your wallet is on constantly. There's the proposal from Buck and the Bison Wallet teams, so make sure you support that. Does your crypto let you vote on chain? Absolutely. And I said this in a post for this. Coin holder governance, coin holder voting is the absolute ultimate for hodlers. If you believe in a project and you're holding for dear life, why should you see your value get diluted as inflation happens? If you're holding, if you're one of the big holders of your project, and you're staking and you're kind of, most of us now have been holding on for what, best part of probably 6+ years. And had we not have been staking, our money would have been being diluted as the coin supply went up and up and up and up. And obviously Decred will get to 21 million at some point in the next 30 odd years. Maybe 100 years for 21 million actually. But as these increases happen, and we may only be seeing 2 million a year or whatever it is, but you certainly don't want to be diluted. You should be taking profits. You should be earning DCR whilst you hold, and that's why I love it. And also having the right to say, hey, I want this proposal to happen, or I want this consensus change to happen, or I don't want this consensus change to happen is absolutely crazy important. Yeah. I have got a video series coming up for Decred's governance, but I'm actually trying to learn more about politics at the moment, so that I can actually politics and government, so that I can actually deliver it more thoroughly. But yeah, that should be fun. And also this week, the Polygon chain got its upgrade, which was the weirdest upgrade in history. I've never known an upgrade quite like it. So yes, people have been able to move their Matic Polygon off of Coinbase and Binance and move it into Bison Wallet. However, if you just moved it, you end up having to move it on the Ethereum chain, which caused people to obviously lose money or find it very difficult to get that money. So one of the weird things about this upgrade is you actually had to move your coins from Matic into the Pol chain, or the new Polygon chain, before you could move them using the Polygon chain. It was an absolute mess as far as I'm concerned. I think it's what's happening there? Apparently I can't click on that. It was an absolute mess in terms of upgrades. But what I did here is I kind of walked you through it. Now on Bison Wallet, until the next upgrade, it is still called Matic, but it is Pol. It's the Pol chain. It's the Polygon chain. So yeah, there's some confusion there. But if you're worried about that, just read through this, and I kind of tell you how to move it over from Coinbase and how to use it. So hopefully that will help. I left this one up. This is actually quite an old post, 2002, but they were talking about Zcash and Monero being particularly vulnerable to spam attacks. So I thought this was quite a good post for today's talk on unstoppable privacy. And it does prove that, based on the attacks, this chart here is what happened to Zcash just a few years ago. But based on that, it's unstoppable. Once you have these protocols in place, if people want to use them, they will use them. And this particular spammer was using the cheap transactions of their shielded transactions to actually just blast. I think the actual chain is over 200 gigabyte now. But when this started in June 2022, the actual chain was 30 gigabytes. It was actually really, really easy to run. Now it's at well over 200 gigabytes. And I'd be interested to know actually how long it takes to actually synchronize a Litecoin full node after these attacks. But this was one of the points that I was kind of saying to you earlier is this, well, maybe I didn't say this actually, but actually there were some other mechanisms there that maybe they've fixed now, where the actual transactions were super cheap, actually cheaper than a normal transaction. and that's what the spammer actually took advantage of. Since that time, they have fixed that, I believe, by making the transactions more expensive. But one of the Zcash guys can let me know if I'm right or wrong on that one. I think that's pretty much it from. I think that's pretty much it from all of the news this week, which absolutely loads happening. I'm just checking over on Bison Relay, see if there's any messages. We are very quiet on the old Bison Relay these days, although there has been some nice conversation happening during the week. But remember, if you guys do want to participate and you do want to put up some comments during the show, I will tip you over on Bison Relay so that you can get tipped for your engagement. So without further ado, the one thing that I was hoping to do today is turn on, let me just bring up my screen, is to turn on the privacy mixer. So like I said, I haven't done this. You and I will be doing this at exactly the same time. So it may work, it may fail horribly. But that is the mission. We're going to turn on Bison Wallet's Decred peer-to-peer privacy mixer and just see how it works. So, but before we do that, I just want to show you these pairs. So look at the order books. Look how great this is looking. So this is the DCR USDT. We've had quite a bit of volume actually. If I can move it to a different screen so you can actually see how much this is moving. So we're getting a nice amount. So we do still need more. We still need to make sure that we are getting this volume well up there. Oh look, someone's just bought some now. So that's coming in. Look at that. Some kind of arbitrage opportunity just there happening. Fantastic. So we had two missions. The last 2 weeks, we had two missions. The first mission was to build the order books. The second mission was to tighten the spread. So tighten the spread. So it was within 1% really. So we've got these nice full order books. We got a spread that's roughly around 1%. So the next mission going forward is actually to build volume. So to build the uses of people actually using this. So this week, on average, we've seen about $1,000 a day on most pairs, apart from over the weekend, which was very low apparently. So this is going up now, but we've seen roughly about $1,000 per pair on this, unless you get to the DCR BTC pair, which on average has been trading at about, or has been doing about 4,000 worth of trades a day, and the Matic DCR to Matic has also been up there, although it's come down a little bit now. But I mean, look at all this. There's absolutely loads of trades going absolutely crazy. But that's what we want to see this week and going forward. We want to see people using this and maybe generating, a few $1,000s worth of trading per pair. Now, if you are interested in batting some Decred back and forward, you can do that very, very cheaply with the DCR Matic pairs. Absolutely crazy cheap. Although there was something to do with Matic having a fee spike this week, which might have hindered that a little bit. Let's have a little look over on the wallets. But yeah, look at them coming in. That's absolutely amazing. Love it. Sorry, did I show you them all? Yeah, so just look at the order books. Loads and loads of pairs there. This person here is going mental, buying all this Decred. Whoever's Decred this is going to get chomped away. Look. Oh, fantastic. Love to see it. Let's get that back up to $12. Fantastic. But you can see the order books are starting to fill up. The actual spread is getting really, really tight, which is nice. Love to see that, and love to see so much volume happening. And even the LTC pair is starting to see some nice volume happening as well. And this was one of the ones that I was most worried about. The LTC Decred pair had been live for well over a year, and it saw almost no volume, which was a bit of a concern, really. But now we've got the USDT. Hopefully that will change. And we've already seen some trades, but nowhere near as much as you would expect from the Litecoin community. So One of our missions going forward is to see if we can talk to some of the Litecoin guys, see if we can get them to set up some market makers and start using this stuff so that we can actually open up some more pairs. So maybe they can have a Bitcoin pair, maybe they can have a Matic pair. And ultimately that's what we're aiming to do is favor those projects that can actually produce the liquidity and produce the users. We don't want to see empty books. We don't want to see no trades. So that is our next mission. Let's start building that up. Okay. So I've got 16 Decred. This may take a little bit of time. I'm not sure what's happening here, actually. So this is the stake area. It seems to be offline at the minute. I also keep getting a message. I've got a trade in redemption at the minute, which has been there for a couple of days. The money has actually come back to me. So this 0.5 has actually come back to me. But for some reason, it's kind of, it's kind of just saying pending. So I'm not really sure what's happening there. But based on the amount, and I can show you, I've done absolutely loads of trades, absolutely loads of trades, just trying to put my money where my mouth is. And look at all these transactions, absolutely loads of them. One day, I think I did something like 200 transactions. It was amazing. But that's the point. Someone like myself who's out here putting this content together, I want to make sure that it works. I don't want to be talking out of my hat saying, oh yeah, you put your money where it is, put your money up into this platform that may or may not work. No, the idea of what we do is to demonstrate by doing. Look at all those orders, absolutely loads of them. Demonstrate by doing. And that's why, before I start spouting on about how great this is, I actually want to use it. I want to say, look, I've used this. This is not me talking out my hat. I've actually used this stuff. So let's do it. Let's do privacy. Oh my goodness. Let's turn it on. Here we go. What happens? Well, based on the fact that I'm getting this loading screen, I wonder if it might have actually crashed. I'll tell you what, let me come off of this because I think that's crashed. Let me shut down Bison Wallet and I'll try that again. So we'll try that again. Bear with me, guys. Apologies for this. Yeah, I think I just put, like I said, as I was starting today's show, I hit so many errors. It was absolutely ridiculous. It's all gone wrong. Here we go. There we go. Right, that took a couple of seconds to close. Clearly, there had been a problem there, actually. So let me just restart it now. And do my... So, in a couple of seconds, let me put that back on. And let's see. If it doesn't work, then we'll probably start closing out. Yeah, there was an error there for some reason. There was an error. So it looks like it's working now. So let me just get that back on. Apologies for that. I would have fixed that at the beginning of the show because I did see that there was a problem at the beginning of the show, but I was in such a tizwas to kind of get everything set up after my issues that I kind of just left it. So let me put my face on the other side. Now, that's what it's meant to look like. So you're meant to be able to see all the agendas. You're meant to see the privacy. Now, my privacy is turned on. I can't scroll down anymore. So let me just... Oops. There we go. So hopefully you can see that a bit better. Can we get some more information? No. So what's meant to happen here then? So presumably I should be able to see a wallet, hide mixing transactions. I should be able to see an unmixed account and a mixed account here. Here we go. So immature, unmixed. So yeah, that's what's there we go. So I've got it turned on. Now what's going to happen in time intervals? Now we may or may not want to stay and watch this because our time intervals are, I think, either 5 minutes or 10 minutes. I've got a feeling they're 10 minutes between interval. So what will happen is in intervals, some of that money will move into the mixed wallet. This will take a little bit of time. What I'll try and do is I'll just try and leave this on until we see the first one come through, just so we can validate that it's all working. But like I said last week, now that I'm actually mixing, I actually can't spend any of this. So it's all immature until it goes into my mixed wallet. So none of this stuff can actually be spent right now. So I can't do any trades until all of this has been mixed. So hopefully it will start any second now. See, that's where I've messed up completely. I should have done that at the beginning of the show. I should have pressed that button at the beginning of the show. I'd completely forgotten. Once again, the downsides of doing everything live is you kind of mess this stuff up. Anyway, in terms of the show, I think we're pretty much done. But one thing we could do is we could actually put a trade on. Or can we? We can buy some Decred at a spread of 4%. We can buy some USDC at a spread of 1.7%. Oh, that's nice. Look at that one. So we can buy some Decred. And what have I got here? I got $80. Let's buy some Decred at 11 quid. Oh, hold on. Someone else is buying. They're going to steal it all before I get there. All this cheap Decred. Okay, hold on. How much do I want? Let's buy one Decred. What's he got available? 2.5. Let's buy 2.5 Decred. If you're selling it this cheaply, we should zap it up. So there we go. So buy Decred. We're going to buy it for this price. We're going to buy the whole 25 lots worth. Place the order. If you're happy, hit it. Gosh, what's happening now? Did I settle? Oh, there's a lot going on here. Look at this volume. You know, when we turned this on, that had like $50 worth of volume. And now we're already up to that 1,230. Oh, that's incredible. Oh, it moved. It moved on me. You're not meant to do that. So Decred does have this epoch system, but clearly someone had moved theirs before or in that interval that I was actually buying on. So now I missed my slot. And it's definitely starting to move away now. Let me close that. I want that Decred. Someone's watching the live stream and moving it away from me as they see me putting this stuff down. Right, let's try that again. So this time it's got 1.5. So 1190, 1.5, 15 lots, buying Decred, place order, hit it. Look at that. That is amazing. And there you go. That time we had it. So I was right in the middle of someone's trade by the looks of it, and they sniped me. They got it before I did. But look at this. This is amazing. I mean, it'd be interesting to see how much volume this is. This has been $1,250 worth of volume has literally been created since we've been on live. So how long have we been live for? 49 minutes. So in 49 minutes, that's how much volume has been created, which is over $1,000 just for this pair, which is absolutely incredible. Absolutely brilliant. Love it. We kind of always knew that the USDT Decred pair would be quite popular. There's been shouts this week, and maybe you guys on Twitter could start voicing your opinion about this. But would you like to see or for every pair in that fact, but currently a DCR to USDC pair? I definitely put my hand up and I say yes. I would love to see that pair happen. I would love to see a USDC pairs or more USDC pairs for Decred and for others actually. And I think this will help onboard more Coinbase users. So yeah, that's what I'm going for. Right, let's see what this trade's doing. So it's still starting. We need 2 confirmations for that. Let's head back to my Decred wallet and see if any of this is mixed yet. So we've not got any mix yet. I really want to hold on just a little bit longer to see if that mix channel starts. Otherwise, what we might have to do is we'll come back next week and I can show you it finished. But I would like to show you that this stuff is happening organically. It's happening directly in my SPV wallet and it's connecting with other mixing nodes peer to peer. There's no service here. Bison Wallet isn't running this service. They're enabling me to run it, but this is all done in my own wallet. I mean, it's connecting to peers on the network, which is absolutely amazing. I'm reluctant to turn this stream off until I get that first confirmation through, just because I want you guys to see it. But I also appreciate that might be a little bit tedious. I'm loving all this volume though. Should we buy some more? So we got enough. We can buy some more. Let's buy 2 Decreds worth. And let's push that. Let's push that way a little bit. And actually, in fact, let's see if a market maker takes the extra lot. So let's say, right, on 2 Decred. Buy 2 Decred from this price here. So it will plot my new one about here somewhere, moving the margin a little bit. So let's see if that works. Here we go. Ready? Right, we're buying at this price. 20 lots, 2 Decred. Hit it. And just picking myself up some nice cheap Decred there. That's amazing. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. And there he goes. It's taken. And this is my new lot. And we've actually moved the spread all the way to $12 now. So yeah, I didn't think it would take too much to actually move that, which is absolutely great. We just saw that this alert the market maker just came in. That's incredible. I love it. And these are automatic market makers. They're seeing opportunity, and they're literally just taking the spread, which is absolutely great. And you get these really interesting fights between the market makers if you do these things. And obviously that's it's really cool to watch because the actual spread for the market makers is built around oracles. So once one spread moves away, it kind of tries to arb between them, as I understand it. Yeah, absolutely incredible. And look at these buy orders now building up. Yeah, we're going to see some nice action today, I think. I think that's going to be great. Let's see if it's done. If it hasn't done, then I'm just going to move on. And I'll tell you what I'll do is I'll show you this next week when this immature balances fix has kind of got a mixed wallet going as well. But literally all I had to do was turn that on, and now it's just running in the background. Whilst that's mixing, until all of these funds have been moved into my mixed wallet, you do have to leave Bison Wallet open. So if you do enable this button here, make sure that you leave Bison Wallet open until that's finished. Otherwise, it won't complete properly. Guys, thanks for tuning in today. We haven't had much of an audience, so we had like one or two people tune in every now and again. So we'll probably move it back we'll probably move it back to that 3 p.m. slot. And I think we're just going to leave it there. I think we're just going to leave it at 3 o'clock, unless people want to come on the show and can't make that time, then we'll move it around. A final note from me. Remember, this is a community show. So although the last 3 weeks it's just been me sat here talking, that's more to do with getting the show started. And actually saying, hey, look, I'm going to be around. I'm going to be here. We want to talk about Decred. We want to talk about all the wonderful things happening. And if you're one of those people that's building something great, and you want to come on the show and talk, it would be absolutely great to hear from you. And also, if you're a member of another community that has some ideas, wants to tell me about your project and how maybe Decred could intertwine with that, I'm also up for talking to you guys. Pretty much anything that takes this space forward, I would love to see more of, and I'd love to see you guys, putting yourselves forward and actually coming on the show and talking about it. And it might also be a nice way to introduce yourself to the community. All too often we've got all these invisible people in the community trying their best to get support. But if nobody knows you, nobody's going to support you. And maybe this could be a good platform for you to say, look, this is what I intend to do. What are your thoughts on it? And we can have these honest conversations. And I'm all about honesty. You know that I want to see this stuff succeed and I want to push this stuff forward. But it doesn't happen unless we all kind of pack together and move it forward ourselves, That being said, absolutely fantastic show. Absolutely enjoyed it. Great to see so much volume happening on the Decred to USDT pair. I'm following this really, really closely. I'm going, as soon as the first pair passes 10,000, I'm posting that like crazy, and that's going to be my talk for next week. The first pair to pass 10,000 in daily volume will be absolutely amazing. And I'll also show you how the mixing got on next week. So it hasn't done anything. So I suspect we've still got a little bit of time. But I'll show you that. It is a long process, as you can see. So by the time we get back, all of my funds should be mixed and I should be fully private and swapping on chain, which is absolutely amazing. Guys, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next week. Thanks all.
People want to be free to transact and do business worldwide. And that is a force that I think is going to sweep the globe. We are now at the very beginning of that, and I honestly don't think there's a stopping it.
Everyone who goes to the major exchange platforms is still going to have to give up all kinds of personal information to these entities, which effectively means that exchanges are almost like the new banks.
The revolution will not be centralized.